I'm Barbara Bellinger, and I talk a lot on TV.
And you talk like all my relatives from Fort Wayne. You have the very same accent.
What?
The Northern Indiana, yeah.
That is so I hear that every once in a while, that I have an accent, and I'm like, I've moved so much.
Yeah, you probably don't hear it.
That
And we probably all sound, twangy down
You
here.
have a little
Yeah.
bit. You don't as much as, Brian,
Oh,
Kentucky.
I know. Welcome to Inside Look. I'm Jeff Lyons, joined today by Barbara Bellinger, our weekend anchor, one of our newer reporters here, at least in this crop in 2025. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you. You've got to do the news and all that stuff right after this, so we won't go for 3 hours like
Thank
I
you.
normally do. Okay.
Yeah, that would have not been good.
Well, so tell the Barbara Bellinger story. Where did it all begin?
Wow. Yeah, well.
Like, where were you born? Where'd you grow up? That kind of stuff.
People ask me where I'm from, and I say, well, I was born in Thief River Falls, Minnesota, but I only lived there for 2 days in the hospital. Mom and I hopped a train to meet Dad in Illinois.
Now, see, this is the kind of stuff I want to hear on the podcast.
Okay.
That is exciting. Now, when you say hop a train, you mean like took a passenger train, right? You weren't in a boxcar or
Right.
something.
We
Oh,
didn't.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I was not. I don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go
and
ahead.
That just started at like sort of a lifelong of moving.
Uh-huh.
And, my dad moved us. He was a Fish and Wildlife Refuge manager. So to progress in that industry or organization, you move to more difficult refuges.
So was he in the federal government?
Yep.
Okay, so do they kind of, shift people around, or did he have to bid on jobs, or how did that work?
Yeah, more like apply for them. So he would get, and sometimes they would call him up and say, Jay, apply for this, we want you over here. He won Refuge Manager of the Year of all the refuges in the United States at one point.
Cool.
So, but, we bopped around Oklahoma, Montana, and then we ended up in Alaska for, I guess, my formative years, junior high and high school.
So are you living like in a national park, or where do you live if your father is doing that?
On a wildlife refuge.
Okay.
So, you go visit these wildlife refuges around here, and I actually haven't visited any yet. No,
It's all right. You've only been here a couple of months, so or a few
there's
months.
a lot on my list. There's a lot. But a lot of them you'll see like a group of houses, or because there'll be the office, and I don't know if they still do that, but I know up in Kodiak, where we last lived as a family before I graduated, we lived on the refuge. There were the assistant refuge manager lived on the refuge. Just houses.
Yeah. Is that kind of a lonely life for a kid, though? I mean, are there other kids there? Or
Well, I did have siblings.
Yeah?
And sometimes, like some of the refuges, there were other kids, but I think it was mainly just my siblings and I. Is the refuge in Montana, there were other kids. They were younger. I don't know. It was outdoors, and back then I was never bored. I was always outside, no matter the temperature. I mean, we'd get home from school, Mom be like, don't take your snowsuits off. Go back out until dinner.
So are you like a tree climber, a bug collector, a rock collector? I mean, you got into the natural stuff, I assume.
Yeah, but I've never been a collector, but I'm not squeamish.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like spiders. Who does? Well, a few people do. But, we were hunting and trapping and fishing with our dad from the day we could walk.
What did you trap?
Well, he would trap mink, muskrat, beaver. I mean, we have a family farm in Michigan. He lives across the street, and they go pull a beaver out of the beaver pond every year just to keep population control. So he just will set up his traps, and they'll run them, and
So if we had some kind of emergency, you could field dress a mink right here for us and make nice stoles and everything.
the funny thing, I never did. I never actually field dressed or skinned even the deer that I got.
Yeah.
I don't have no idea how that happened,
Okay.
really.
But it happened. But I mean, somehow or other, you got the meat, right?
Got the meat. Like, that's the end result of that, yeah.
So you're in Kodiak, and now it's time to go away to school. So what was your direction at that point?
Yeah, this was back before people really embraced that not every child's path is straight into college after high school, because that's what my path really should have been. but there wasn't that concept yet. So I made a bargain with my mom. I wanted to go to school in Southern California. She wanted me to go to a Christian school. So I ended up at a school in Southern California for a year, which was just a bomb, you
A
know.
Christian school in
A
Southern
Christian
California?
school in
Okay.
Southern
Not a
California.
good fit. So then what?
And then I ended up in Anchorage, Alaska at
Oh,
UAA.
wow.
Yes, came all the way back and went to UAA for a semester. And that, like I said, I just wanted to be working.
Yeah.
And so I left that and ended up really just a lifetime of sort of administrative roles, morphing into management roles. I've been a marketing manager for a civil engineering firm. I've managed a low-income housing development. I've managed databases. I was a receptionist. I was, a secretary. I was an executive secretary. Like,
Where did the curiosity come? Or was it just a drive to have steady employment? Or were you like, I wonder what it's like to, run a database?
my dad would say I was born curious. Like, I came out fighting the man, basically. I came out going, that doesn't make sense to me. I have to figure out what makes sense. And so I was always like a voracious reader, and I just wanted to know more. So really in my jobs, generally the transition happened when I started getting a little bored. And I
Okay.
didn't feel challenged, and I kind of looked around and was like, maybe I'll try that. And really, life was good in that I generally was able to get the jobs I applied for because they knew I was really interested in it. What they didn't know is my interest only lasted about 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
And then off to the
And
next
then off to the
thing.
next.
So when you were in computer database management, what era are we talking about? Like, were computers still pretty fresh on the scene, like mainframe computers and that sort of thing? Or where were we in that?
That was actually recent.
Oh, okay.
And that's what created my transition to journalism. So I was on a contract position, and I was less the technical side of the database, but I was managing data that was inside the database. So I was on sort of a hunting, looking for information that people needed in this massive database at Michigan Medicine, which is the medical side of University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So I was hunting for all these little pockets of money. And then COVID hit. And
now we're up to 2020.
yeah, I just jumped forward because I was all over. I mean,
Right.
So the places I've lived, Seattle a couple times, multiple places in Oregon, LA a couple times, Idaho, and
We'll talk about that if we may we. Forget, I'm curious.
Okay,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
never been to Seattle, so and you lived there twice, so
Yes.
you must have gone there, done something, moved away, and thought, Seattle wasn't so bad after all. Or how did
Yeah.
that happen?
I was just I just kind of went with life, like where life was going to take me. But let me put that into perspective for you, and I'm very open about this. I'm in recovery. I've been sober a little over 18 years.
Congratulations, that's huge.
Thank you. I always get a little emotional over it. It's like it
That's all
happened
right.
yesterday.
That's a major
Thank
thing,
you.
and alcoholism touches so many
Yeah.
in the world, in my family, and I'm sure many families around the world.
Yeah, and I feel really blessed to have survived it, frankly, and to be on this side of it. But the boredom at my job always coincided with my drinking getting a little bit out of control. Like, I would sort of feel like the job wasn't cutting it, but in looking back, it was my drinking that wasn't cutting it. And so subconsciously, I would say, oh, I'm bored, it's time to move. But what I was doing is the pattern of a periodic drinker.
Okay.
So I would move, get a new job, new friends, new life, be okay for about a year and a half. And at some point, I'd sneak right back in, find that group that allowed me to drink the way I really wanted to.
Yeah, it's like a vicious circle.
Yep.
You can't escape. I mean, it takes a lot of work, daily work, to
Yeah.
escape that cycle.
And a willingness to recognize that it's not everyone else who's the problem. You're an alcoholic. I'm not the problem, but I'm an alcoholic, and there's a solution.
And it's interesting, like you said, it's pervasive. I mean, it's everywhere, and
Yep.
and many people, would not admit it or talk about it openly, and I think that's probably half the problem. If it were just out there, not stigmatized, maybe it wouldn't be
Yeah.
what it is, You mentioned Michigan earlier at Family Farm up there and so forth. So do you kind of, and I know you came to us from Michigan. So is Michigan kind of home base for you then?
Yeah, even though we never lived at the farm, we were there every other summer because my dad would get federal government turnaround leave. So every other summer, no matter
Yeah.
where we were, the federal government would pay for us to go home. Dad and mom were both from Michigan. And the family farm, dad's side of the family, we just could never wait. We couldn't wait to get there. It was literally like, okay, there's outside. We'd come back to grandma's, big wraparound porch, and she'd make us, she'd cut up pickled bologna and serve us Vernors, and then we'd race back out, and we'd be eating blackberries back in the bushes.
You're sure you're not related to Norman Rockwell in some way? That it's quite a picture, but a beautiful one. I mean, what a life.
It's amazing. I mean, and it is still amazing. There isn't a house on it right now. My dad and stepmom live across the street from it. But it's ours. It's in a trust in perpetuity. It's not going anywhere.
And you say a farm, or row crops or livestock or simply land or
just land. We call it the family farm.
That's all right.
It's never really been a working farm, but
be glad. Then you'd be up there for harvest, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So really, in 2019, what happened? I was on my second stint in Bend, Oregon. I did do a lot of repeats to different cities, I guess.
Pacific Northwest. I mean, you said Seattle and Bend, of course.
Yeah, but I lived in Portland like 3 different times.
And those are beautiful places, aren't they? I mean, like I said, I've not been to the Pacific Northwest, so I've only seen pictures. But there had to be a certain element of it that kind of tied your whole arc together. I mean, Kodiak, Alaska would qualify as well.
A lot of Alaskans end up in Washington and Oregon.
Just to warm up, right?
Yeah, probably. And it's similar. It's still like easy to get to the wild. It's easy to get outdoors. There's a lot of outdoor activities, but I will never end up back there because of the rain.
Yeah. I wonder, I was going to ask you about that because everybody always talks about how rainy it is in Seattle. And of course, on the meteorology, weather side of things, they don't really get that much rain. Like here, we've had almost 60 inches of rain this year. Seattle might get like 30 or 40. It's much less. However, they get it in these little drizzly doses that grind on and on and on.
Right. I remember one winter in Portland, we didn't see the sun for 3 months. It was just gloom and drizzle, and then it would stop drizzling, but it would just be fog to the ground, and no thanks.
And Kodiak, is that far enough north that you had the darkness, like through December, January, February? I mean, I know above the Arctic Circle the sun goes away, but Kodiak is farther south.
We didn't go completely dark, neither did we go completely light, but I don't even remember like what it would. We'd go to school in the dark, and we'd leave school in the dark.
Right.
Like it would maybe get fully light around 10 maybe, and then dark at 4 or something. It was very short, but on Kodiak Island, it's obviously it's in the Gulf of Alaska on the Japanese Current, and we call it raining sideways.
Mm-hmm.
It rains sideways.
That's all it does. Yeah, blows and rains.
Blows and rains. So
before we get to Michigan, so I'd like for you to cherry pick from we'll call it your experimental stage when you came from Alaska and then had many, many, many jobs. Which one stands out? Like of all of them, you'd say, oh man, that was the best one or that was the worst one?
Yeah, the instant best is the only one that even comes, and it doesn't even come close to what I'm doing now. But it was when I was in marketing for a civil engineering firm, because the curiosity again and the research I learned something new every single day with projects that we were bidding on, and we were multidisciplinary. So I was working on a bridge proposal at the same time I was working on a transportation study proposal at the same time, like we were doing an environmental study proposal for a stream rehabilitation. And like your brain was just firing and that's the kind of brain I have. Like it just wants to fire all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think that was part of it. It was amazing. It was just every day was something new. Like you could not get bored there.
And then the dud job, can we name don't name names, but there had to be one.
I don't I think what I would look at as the dud job I don't know if it was like a specific job, but it was when I was working in sales in LA, and I was selling litigation support services. So I was in and out of law firms.
Yeah.
But I think that was combined with the fact that that was when I was heading toward my bottom to when I finally got sober.
Okay.
And so nothing about that job,
Yeah.
I have no positive memories
I
about
think
that
even
job.
dead sober, that doesn't sound very appealing
No,
either. So,
I was.
you know.
It was literally one of my first thoughts. I was like, I'm never doing sales again.
So sales is one of those things too. And of course, we're we're not intertwined in a TV station. It's an an essential part of how this. I mean, that's why the lights are on here, because people are selling
Right.
airtime within the content that we're producing. Never had an inkling to do that. I can't ask people for money or
Hard.
or that aspect of it, because it always feels to me, and nothing against people who do sales because they're essential, but it always seems like they would know. Like if I came in and I was selling something, it's kind of like, when they used to go door to door and sell life insurance. And
I had major imposter
encyclopedias.
syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm like, these people they are going to find me out, and I wasn't,
Right.
we did have litigation support
Sure.
services, but I just felt like I was just telling lies
Yeah.
all day long, like promising the moon. And it happened that way on one of, I called back and I'm like to the office or whatever, and was like, we told them we would do this. Well, I had one boss say, they need that, tell them we can do it. And I'm like, well, can we do it? And
We'll
he
worry
said-
about that later.
That's exactly what he said.
I'd be
And
a great boss, wouldn't I?
right. And I had such a problem with that, but I hadn't stepped in to who I was yet.
Sure.
And so I just did it, and it just was ugly. I did not like that industry.
So you came over to the
Yes.
truth, journalism, ultimately,
Yeah.
but there was something between journalism, because I know you told me, you went back to school in
Yep.
Michigan
Yeah.
to pursue this. So what was between, like leading up
yeah.
to the pandemic?
So really, I got sober, and then I decided to go back to school because I never finished school. So I moved. That was my first living in Bend. I got my associate's degree. I transferred to University of Oregon on my way to get my bachelor's in journalism, and that was in 2010 to 2012. What happened is I started getting frequent migraines, like more and more and more. And by my last semester, one class left, and I couldn't finish it. And I ended up, a month after I was supposed to graduate, I ended up having a brain aneurysm rupture. And
Oh my gosh, you
Yeah.
have had a life, haven't you?
Yeah.
Here, a life and a half. So
And really, one of the lucky ones, it was a slow leak. The blood was leaking slowly, so there was time. And I, obviously I'm fine. But then a year after that, I had another brain surgery for something else that
Right.
was causing the migraines, partially causing the migraines.
goodness.
And so I just was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, I'm
You know?
sure.
I think I was 46 then,
Yeah.
and it was just sort of insanity. I'm like, I'm sober, but what is going on? So I took a year off and I traveled, and I just on a shoestring, and I visited different people around the United States, and then I went to Spain for 2 months, Morocco and Paris for 2 weeks and 2 weeks, and then in England for 3 months. And then when I came back, I landed in Bend again and worked there until 2019 when my mom got ill in Michigan. I came out, moved to Michigan to help her what we thought would be through something, and we lost her. But
I'm sorry.
thanks. But then I was in Michigan, which felt like home
Yeah.
because of the family farm.
Sure.
And so I stayed. Then I got that database job, and COVID hit. I just did a whole flash through of about 10
Right.
years. Well, I finished my contract. I was the only contractor kept after the shutdown because I was finding money that they needed at that point. Because,
Oh yeah, everything dried up.
everything dried up.
Yeah.
So they sent me home with a laptop and all my stuff, and I finished my project. That was done. Hiring freeze, thank goodness, because I didn't just take this job that they were going to move me into. I started doing my resume and looking at all these office jobs and different things. And I thought, I can't keep doing that. I was 50. And I'm like, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, you want to be a journalist, Barbara. So do it. So I re-enrolled online at U of O, finished my bachelor's, that one class, and realized I have zero experience in media. Like I felt as if my skills were transferable, but I also felt as if I didn't have the knowledge I wanted to be able to sell myself. And so I went to Michigan State and got my master's in journalism. And I was going for writing, my man. I was going to be a newspaper reporter. That was my dream job. And while I was there, I got an internship at one of our sister stations in Lansing.
In Gray here,
Yep,
media,
yeah.
who owns Channel 14.
Yep. And it was WILX, and was just like, what is this amazing job? And I didn't look back. And that really was the start of it. And thankfully, I went from my internship at a Gray station to my first station in the UP, which was a Gray station. And now I'm at my third Gray station.
So by my count, this is the warmest climate in broadcasting you've ever lived in, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
you keep
I love
tempting fate going up to the UP. Where were you in the UP?
So I was in Escanaba,
Okay.
and I was a bureau reporter, which was actually great for me because I've been a manager. I've self-managed. I'm used to that. And when you're a bureau reporter, you're kind of on your own.
You got to
know?
enterprise your stories
That's
and
right.
turn them, and you're on your own, right?
Two a day. And yeah, so it was great. Like it was nonstop to the wall. But it was not, I am not I mean, it was wonderful to be there. The people are wonderful. I have a lot of them who still follow me on Facebook, and they'll comment and I'll comment back.
Right.
But I gave my boss 6 months notice. I said, this is my last winter. He's like, where are you going? And I said, south. And he's like, right, but where south? And I'm like, just south. Just
Any
further
old South will do.
Any old south. Just a longer summer.
And that's when our luck took over because you came here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wasn't it like 112 the first day you were? I mean, I remember you came in the summer, right? Or late summer, early fall. So,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, and of course for us, and we're recording this on the 7th of December. Actually, my 38th anniversary here is today. I started on Pearl Harbor Day.
Congratulations.
But yes, it's been abnormally cold here. But I guess you don't even notice, right?
Oh, this is nothing. Nothing. This is nothing. The little bit of snow we had, it doesn't even compare. Like, because I remember them saying, well, we get cold days. And we have, it was in the 20s, and there was a little bit, I think, below 20s with wind chill.
Yeah.
But wind chill in the UP, I mean, I was on the Lake Michigan side of the UP, like right on. It's not on the open lake. It's on the bay that then goes down and turns into Green Bay.
Yeah.
But it's just flat out wind, and it's sub-zero.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because when you came, I mean, we're both about the same age. I mean, we're of a certain generation, right?
Yeah.
And yet we're both working around kids that could be our kid.
Right.
I shouldn't say kids, but because they're professionals. I mean, this is their
Right.
first job. They can't help it that they're 23.
Right, young people.
And that's an interesting juxtaposition. How are you working that?
Yeah.
Because it's a young person's industry, basically. Yes. I mean, you look around.
I'm a very atypical entry to this field.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge in and of itself.
Yes.
So how have you worked that?
Well, so I really had a chat with myself. I think even before I started at TV6, and said, you can use your lived experiences to benefit your role, benefit your team, maybe make your stories a little bit more granular just because you know what people are talking about. But you can't use your experiences to set yourself above anyone that you work with just because of their age.
Yeah.
I'm like, your ego does not belong here, Barbara. And I'm not perfect, right?
Well, none of us is perfect.
I have my moments, but one of my commitments in sobriety is just to try and be a better person, right? And so I've had this talk multiple times when a young person comes back. And I mean, my news director here
It's
is,
our news director, right, right.
right? And
She's younger than my oldest kid. See, so I mean, it's a different perspective. And I'll tell something on me.
yeah,
I was out on a live shot recently, and we have to use a smartphone to dial in to hear what's coming from the control room.
sure.
And for whatever, you get these little brain farts. I can say that on here. And I'm looking around, like trying to find, I needed to mute my phone.
Oh,
And the young photographer that I was with, like just reached over and ding, did it like my daughter would do. It's like, Dad,
Yeah.
here, give me that. And it makes me feel like, oh boy, I'm slipping, and on the other hand, no, I don't think I'm
okay,
slipping.
good.
But that feeling, it's like you don't want to be obviously behind, and yet inherently we're going to be a little bit because stuff has changed so much,
Yeah.
especially in the last 15, 20 years. So do you find that same feeling too?
I just don't allow it really because
Oh, maybe that's what I need to do.
I-
I'll just shut it out.
I don't have the time. I don't have the time
Well,
for
that's true.
it.
Nobody's got the time
You
for that.
know, and so I just go, okay, learn that, or
Yeah.
why you didn't know that, now you do, or find the right moment to share this, because that's the other thing. It's when I was early in sobriety, someone said, and this is good because I'm going through something personally right now, and I probably needed to be reminded of this. But one guy was like, before you react to something, try and remember to think, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said right now? And most importantly, does this need to be said by me? Anybody in sobriety is going to recognize that mantra.
Right.
And that's one that I have failed at probably more time across my life, across my sobriety. Not now, but
I think we all, to some degree, fail on
like
that
that.
one.
It's
Yeah.
like that.
Timing.
Just take a pause,
Right.
Barbara, and don't react. Because it doesn't matter that you have 40 plus years of
Right.
work experience.
Right.
I am where I'm at in this industry, and I chose this.
Sure.
Right? And so I don't get to, I could, right? But I don't feel like I get to do that, like hold on to. So I just look at everything as growth opportunities, and look at myself at the end of the day and be like, where'd you fall down? What do you need to change tomorrow?
Yeah. What's your favorite part of the process? I mean, you said you came into a TV station in Lansing and you were like, well, this is it. So what was it? Was it the images? Was it the sound? Was it the merging of picture and writing to tell stories? I mean, which aspect of it hooked you?
You might laugh. It was the energy. It
The
was
energy?
the energy.
Where did you find energy? I'm still looking for it.
Oh, the newsroom.
The newsroom.
Yeah, the energy in the newsroom and all this. And then it's funny because then I go to a bureau where, sorry.
You're okay.
Then
You're hitting, Barbara's hitting the microphone
I'm
here. That's
sorry.
okay. There we go.
Because I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
comfort your ears.
Italian, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was all the clatter and see, I avoid that like the plague.
Oh, I
hate
love
the
it.
scanner traffic and I like to go. Of
Love
course,
it.
you know how it is here. The weather office is like we're this
You're-
separate
you're-
padded cell back there.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so used to that. I'd go. Yeah, I would fall over in the newsroom if I had to actually work in there. I mean, I'll go in there and chit chat, but yeah. So you like that?
Yeah, I've worked a lot of jobs where there have been people around me, like distractions. So I'm really good at tuning out. I just like people can be talking right behind me and laughing and stuff. I don't even hear them because I am focused on my story.
Yeah.
And if I have to make a phone call or something, then I realize, oh, I better step out. But I don't even pay attention to it until I am locked in until either someone says my name or something catches my ear or I get to a point where I'm taking a break and I step back out of that. But it's literally like everything goes very muted, like wah, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Right.
Wah, wah. I don't even notice it. Yeah.
So you've been here, at least at the time we're recording this, 4 months, would you say?
I started August 4th.
August, so
So,
roughly
yeah.
4, more or less. Yeah, almost exactly 4 months.
Wow.
So
What?
in that time, you've begun anchoring, which was
Yes.
a
Very
new
new. Yeah,
hurdle
brand
to
new.
clear,
Yeah.
and of course, turning stories on a daily basis. I
Yeah.
think was it, well, it was probably I think it was your first weekend on, and that was when the thing blew up in Newburgh.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a similar story about the second week I was here. We had a tornado in January. I mean, a big one.
Oh,
And it's like, what?
yeah.
What? So you've already had some rite of passage,
Yeah.
initiation here. What kind of story on a daily basis, if you get to choose? Sometimes the desk assigns it. Other times you would enterprise the story. What's your favorite kind of story to do when you're sent out? Or do you care? I mean, you're curious, so maybe it
I
doesn't matter.
I I was gonna say I don't really care.
Yeah.
I love every single story I do, even though some are heart wrenching, some can be frustrating, some can. But the thing of it is my emotions have no place in my job. Now, I don't mean I have no emotions, right? Because we have to tell the stories, but my opinions don't take over. So I get to go and step into either people's lives, right, for a short amount of time, or certain politics for a short amount of time. And then I get this challenge of bringing it back, shortening the story and putting it into this format that people will watch and hear and hopefully engage with in their living rooms, right? Hopefully they'll listen. I don't want to say critically, but that's kind of like listen to it and go,
Yeah.
because
Make them think.
yeah, no one has to agree with the reporting I do, but the reporting I do isn't my opinion. It's the story and it's the people who are telling the story. And I'm sort of regurgitating that and putting it out so more than just this little group of people knows what's going on.
Right.
Because that's really the crux of my job is there are these issues. I think I do like issue reporting because there are these issues that really impact certain communities, whatever they are, right? Like utilities right now, that's impacting everyone, right?
Sure.
But what we get to do, what our job is, what our duty is then to try and go find these details. But then we get all these numbers, right? And big words from people. But then we get to turn that around and put it into some sort of format. Like I did the Linville utility rates. And so
Right.
I used graphics.
Yeah, they jacked up the water rate like 67% or something.
Yeah,
right?
it was.
So see, I remembered this percentage.
There you go. Sewer
Yeah.
and water. One was
That's right.
67 and one was 60.
Okay.
So what I did is I used graphics to pull out these numbers because just listening to someone say numbers, it's very hard. So I don't think it's a type of story. For me, I just think like my goal every day is to put out a good story.
So it's the craft and the process then that really gets you going.
Yeah.
Because you're starting with, I always like to think of it, you kind of start with this haystack and you're pulling out the needles, and
Yeah.
then trying to get them in order so that, like you say, it makes
Yep.
So I think you undersold yourself because you're not regurgitating. There's a
Right.
lot of work and
That's
craft
true.
that goes into,
Yeah.
and under deadline pressure, which is,
Oh.
not much fun, but
That's
necessary.
the worst. But you just do.
Yeah.
I don't know because I've learned a lot there. Because the person I am wants to get it perfect. Like I want a sentence to be perfect.
But in our case, it just has to be good enough because sometimes perfect is like 2 hours from now, right?
Yeah, and my perfect might not be the kind of perfect that our audience
Right.
needs to hear, right? So it's just every day. The one thing, what I love most about my job is that every day I find an opportunity for growth for myself, whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, whether it's interpersonal relationships at work, whether it's how I communicate with someone on an interview, whether it's how I edit, whether it's the video I took every single day. And when I started at TV6, the station
In
in
Michigan,
BP,
sure. Yeah.
that's what I told my boss. I said, give me constructive feedback. I said, because if I'm not growing every day, then what am I doing? Because it's not me, it's the people watching us who deserve me. They deserve that I do my best, right? And that
Sure.
means growing every day and not and failing sometimes, right? But I don't
Yeah,
beat
we're going to make mistakes
I
and
don't
come up short. That's just part of it,
Yep. I
But
don't beat myself up over that. I just go, lesson learned, move
yeah,
on, Barbara.
tomorrow's another day.
Like now you know, don't do that again. How
Right.
and I put a little bit more thought in that, like, how can you avoid doing that again? And what did you do this time that led you to either, like, I got back the one shot I needed on a story I did not have. I did not take
Oh,
that
been
little
there,
video,
done that.
right?
Right.
And I'm going, and then I just have to go, lesson learned. Remember to get a close up of this.
Right. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
try to figure out how to fill that hole in the
Oh
story.
my gosh, that's the worst.
Is this your first podcast?
Yes.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
So another milestone for Barbara
Yes.
Bellinger here,
Yay.
another notch on your belt here in
Yeah.
your career.
I love it.
Barbara, I'm so thankful that you came by and chatted with us and let us know a little bit more about you. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed your story.
Hope my soapboxes don't bore anyone.
No, your soapboxes? No. There's no soapboxes here on Inside
Okay.
Look. We don't
Yay.
have room for it, for one
Well,
thing.
this has been really fun, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
You're
Barbara
awesome.
Bellinger, our weekend anchor and multimedia journalist here at 14 News. You can listen to all of our Inside Look podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch on the 14 News YouTube channel. With Barbara Bellinger, I'm Jeff Lyons. Thanks for joining.